Hello, UFC fans. So here we are one more time. So the rumors are not the rumors. As we know, Conor McGregor is one of the most well-known guys. One of the very famous guy right now in UFC. He was on Twitter last night, and that's what he has to say that I've decided to retire. Thanks for the cheese. Catch you later. I don't know why he's retiring so young at this age. I think he's at right now he's at his peak. you know, just forget about Ned Diaz. But Ned Diaz fight was good. First round was good, but even though he lost, but the point is he went up two weight classes to fight Ned Diaz, so you can't blame him. If he wants to fight the best, you have to sacrifice, and that's what he did. He went up two weight classes and fought a beast in Ned Diaz. But anyways, I don't know why all of a sudden he wants to retire. He want, he was out, he was he's supposed to have a rematch on in July, sometime in July, a rematch with Nat Diaz. But if he's retiring, that's not a right move. I don't think it's a right move. I think there's something going on. There is something going on. There's something going on behind the scene. We don't know yet. He was getting ready for the rematch, but now he wants to retire. So obviously, there's some kind of things going on. I think it's, I was reading some, UFC news, and, I came up, I've seen Dana White and Conor McGregor, they both have some issues with something, you know, but, Dana White said, I don't know how much that is true, but, that's what I heard. And they said it's something to do with the press conferences and promotion, you know, Dana, obviously you need to promote your fight. You need to do a few press conferences. But Conor McGregor, he doesn't want to show up for the press conferences. He just want to go into the fight. That's it. He doesn't want to do the promotions. He doesn't want to do the face off. He doesn't want to do the press conferences. But he just want to go straight into the fight and fight Ned Diaz. So that's probably it. I think that might be the reason he wants to retire. But I think if that's true, I don't think I think it's Conor McGregor's fault. You can't go wrong, man. You need to promote your fight. You need to do press conferences. And one thing about Conor McGregor, he loves to do press conferences. He's very entertaining guy. He'll be there talking trash. So get people buzzing. So I don't you know if that's true, he doesn't want to show up to the press conference. That's a bitch move from Conor McGregor. You know, that's not the right thing to do. Everyone does, press conferences, boxers, everyone. So, you know, you're being selfish. As much as I like you, but at the same time, I have to be unbiased. You're selfish. You need to attend those press conferences and get people buzzing. People love you and they want to see your press conferences, your face up, because every time you're there, you bring something different to the table. I mean, you talk trash, you entertain people. This is what we want to see. This is what people want to see. This is why they love you. This is why they like you. This is why they buy your pay-per-view. You're one of the biggest stars of UFC right now, so I don't want to I don't want to see you go away from UFC like this. I want you to come back, show up for the press conferences and fight Nat Diaz, beat him in a rematch, then you can retire. I want you to go on a win. But at the end of the day, that's how I feel. If he wants to retire, I wish him nothing but the best. He's one of the flashy guys. He's one of my favorite UFC fighters. Alongside Holly Holmes and Misha Tate and then Brock Lesnar. So I wish him nothing, all the best. Conor McGregor, you are one of my favorite. I hope you need to sit down and you need to think about rethink about your retirement. I don't think it's the right move, obviously, but it is what it is. I hope you can sort out your differences with Dana White. But at the same time, you really need to attend those press conferences. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think and stay tuned. Subscribe, like as always. I'm gonna come up with more newses. I'm gonna keep you updated. On this issue. Let me know, guys, what you think. Peace.